There were two kinds of entry into America, one through voluntary migration under the shadow of a national symbol, and one through forced bondage with no invitation, no welcome, no promise of liberty. I'm calling the Statue of Liberty a witch. It's not just a monument, but as a false spiritual covering, a symbol that promises freedom to some while standing silent about the blood, chains, and stolen generations that built the nation beneath its feet. For the descendants of African slaves, there was no Ellis Island moment, no ceremonial embrace. Their arrival was under the flag of captivity, not the banner of liberty. I have the most powerful media channel on the earth, yet I'm bragging in the Lord. However, in this video, a people will discover exactly who they are and the power they possess. This is not for entertainment. I repeat, this is not for entertainment. And please subscribe and share and give me a thumbs up. Black and brown melanated people, we have been catching hell because we did not enter into this country and pass by that witch. Some of our people were already here. She is also known as Semiramis, Ashtoreth, Isis, Venus, Easter, Aphrodite, Libertas, and Mother Mary. Yeah, I said it. Get mad. We just read what is written on her pedestal that contradicts the word of Jesus. Jesus stated, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavily burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Boom! Shakalaka. This is the poem written by Emma Lazarus to raise funds for the pedestal, branding the statue as a symbol of welcome. But it is a nationalistic beacon, not a spiritual one. Jesus doesn't offer a golden door because he is the door, according to St. John 10th chapter, verse 9. Boom! Shakalaka. This leaf disc is dedicated to Sol Invictus, sun god of the late Roman Empire. Sol Invictus, along with Libertas, the Roman goddess and the personification of liberty, influenced the design of liberty enlightening the world. On the right is the coin minted in 1825 by Pope Leo XII. Now check her out. She is sitting on that globe. What did the God of heaven and earth say in Acts 7th chapter, verse 48? He said, "Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool." Now check her out. She has the cross in her left hand, but she is not even looking at the cross. She is telling us that Christianity is just a facade. Check out that right hand. She has a torch, a flame, sun god worship. Now, folks, look around the edge of the coin. It says Sedet Super Universum, declaring that her seat of authority is universal over the entire globe. Blasphemy. That is blasphemy. They got us tricked, folks. They got us tricked. But I'm fixing ready to do the 3-card Molly on them. This is a Google map page, and the Statue of Liberty stands at a latitude and longitude of 40.06892 north and 74.0448 west. Write those numbers down, and later on go to Google's Maps and confirm this is not a Photoshop. Now we're going to move on to the next page and do some numerology. Okay, you got 40.6892 north. You got 74.0448 west. Now, check my math. Follow my math. 4 plus 0 is 4. Plus 6 is 10. Plus 8 is 18. Plus 9 is 27. Plus 2 equals 29. Okay, let's go to the next number. 7 plus 4 is 11. Got 0, we stay at 11. Got 4, we got 15. Got 4, we got 19. Got 8, we had 27. Okay, let's look to your right in the purple and blue numbers. So what I had to do, I had to add those numbers up. So you got 2 plus 8 is 10. So you carry the 1, you got 14. You carry another 1, you got 13. You carry the 1, makes it 7. And then you have no carry. 0 plus 4 is 4. And then you got 4 plus 7 equal 11. So you know 11, 47, 34 is 0. Okay, look to your left in the gold box. You got 11, 47, 340. Now we're going to divide that by 2. That came up to 57, 36, 70. Now we're going to make sure that it's correct. So we go to your right in the black box. So we took 57, 36, 70. We doubled up on it. 0 plus 0 is 0. We got 7 and 7 is 14. We carry the 1 is 13. We carry the 1, we have 7. Then we have no carry. 7 and 7 is 14. You carry the 1, you have 11. Now we know that 57, 36, 70 is correct. Now go below to your left, green box. 5 plus 7 is 12. Plus 3 is 15. Plus 6 is 21. Plus 7 is 28. We stay at 28 because of 0. Now, I lined the numbers up in numerical order. 27, 28, and 29. Check the next page because I'm going to blow your mind. 2 plus 7 equal 9. 2 plus 8 equal 10. 2 plus 9 equal 11. 9, 11. Yellow numbers, folks. 9, 1, 1. The Statue of Liberty location is standing on 9, 1, 1. She is 2,000 yards away from once where the World Trade Center's towers once stood. God got this land called the United States of America on check. He put a hit on the money. He shook the ground of our seat of government with a 5.8 on a Richter. And he put a hit on that witch. She better check that weave. She better check that weave. What you gonna do, folks? Better make Jesus Christ your Lord. Folks, August 20th, 1619. 2 slave ships were heading toward the 13 colonies, the Treasure and the White Lion. However, the first enslaved Africans arrived in Jamestown, Virginia, which is now known as Hampton, Virginia, setting the stage for slavery in North America. Folks, these are the slave ports. We did not come by that witch, folks. We didn't come in by that witch. You ought to rejoice that we didn't come by that witch. We came in Galveston, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, Amelia Island, Florida, which is really St. Augustine, Florida. Now, they have slaves auctions. Now, the slave auctions were held in St. Louis, St. Augustine, Florida, Charleston and Hamburg, South Carolina, Galveston, Texas, Baltimore, Maryland, Richmond, and Alexandria, Virginia. Also, Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee. Now, check that out. Great Negro Mart, number 87 Adams Street, Memphis, Tennessee. And you might not be able to see it too well, but I'm going to read it to you. The undersigned would announce to the community at large that they will keep constantly on hand general assortment of Negroes at private sale and at auction. They will also receive on commission to the board for sale any Negroes consigned to their care. All sales warranted as represented. I guess these are the attorneys Hill, Ware, and Crisp. Now, slave auctions were also in New Orleans, in Algiers, Louisiana, Clinton, Baton Rouge, and Donaldsonville, Vicksburg, Jackson, and Natchez, Mississippi. Moreover, today's conservatives have a burning desire to remain ignorant about slavery, But according to the late Alexander Stephens, vice president of the Confederacy stated, and I'll quote, "Our new government is founded upon exactly the opposite idea. Its foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world based upon this great physical, philosophical, and moral truth." Now, folks, this is what they did to us during Reconstruction after the Civil War. 1866 Memphis Massacre on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. 1866, mobs of white men led by law enforcement attacked black people in the areas of South Street, also known today as Calhoun and G.E. Patterson. By the end of the attack, the mobs had killed an estimated 46 black people, raped several black women, and committed numerous robberies, assaults, and arsons. Colfax, Louisiana, 1873, another massacre. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. 1906, Atlanta, Georgia. 1917, East St. Louis. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. 1923, Rosewood, Florida.
The Roaring Twenties, the country is flourishing. Some African American communities are prospering, like the residents of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A remarkable Baptist pastor named Solomon Sir Jones is the pioneering filmmaker. His footage was lost for more than 50 years. Jones captures the bustling life of Greenwood, which could be any American small town. But Tulsa's whites don't like what they see. In May 1921, after a black man is accused of assaulting a white woman, a white mob rampages through the city. For a night and a day, they loot and burn Greenwood. A Fox News crew captures the only surviving footage. It is the bloodiest racial massacre in American history, leaving nearly 300 dead.
In concentration camps. Let's talk about the Devil's Punch Bowl. So the end of the Civil War is quickly approaching, and with the Emancipation Proclamation, thousands upon thousands of now free black people and escapees are roaming the South. And the city of Natchez, Mississippi was a hotbed for these black people to go to. The population quickly rises from 10,000 to over 100,000. The Union Army was occupying this area, and at the time they said, hey, let's deal with the influx of people by building concentration camps. They re-enslaved these people in about 3 concentration camps in the area that's now known as the Devil's Punch Bowl. It's called that because of the way it's shaped. It's a large cavernous pit with trees rounding the top. The men would do work all day while women and children were trapped behind walls. Over 20,000 and probably more black people died in these concentration camps from starvation and disease. That area is now surrounded by peach trees, and these trees are believed to be fertilized by the bodies of the 20,000 souls who thought they had freedom.
The erasure of melanin from biblical history wasn't the work of one institution. It was a collusion of empire, theology, and racial ideology, with both the Catholic Church and England playing significant roles at different stages. Although Shem's descendants were melanated, they were blatantly depicted as white in history and in Western art, and especially movies owned and operated by Zionists. That was spiritual warfare. that distorts identity, disconnects people from their divine heritage, and props up a false pecking order. By the time Rome took control of Judea, starting around 63 BC under Pompey, the original Canaanite civilizations had long been absorbed, conquered, or integrated by successive empires: Assyrian, Babylonian, Persian, Greek, and finally Rome. The term Canaanite had become more of a cultural or ethnic remnant of a political entity. The gospel came through brown skin, not ivory towers. The church has been complicit in bleaching the narrative, erasing the voices of Africa, the Middle East, and indigenous people. This is IAPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, the pro-Israel lobby that bribes our congresspersons and senators. They also spew the lie that they are Semitic. The word anti-Semitism is a term used to categorize anybody that is insensitive or discriminates against the so-called Jews. Now pucker them lips so I can hit you with the mouth with this. In Bible genealogy, Ashkenaz was the son of Gomer, and Gomer was the son of Japheth, and there is no mention of Sephardic and Mizrahi in the Bible, period. Ashkenazis are not Jews at all. They are a bunch of Russians, Germans, and Polacks, and liars. Zionist organizations are dependent upon the theme of anti-Semitism as a political weapon. They have a starting point that applies to the Arabs in spite of the fact that Arabs constitute the majority of the Semitic peoples, from Yoktan, the great-great-grandson of Shem. Yoktan created the Arab language and had 13 sons that are known as the tribes of Arabia. Those Ashkenazis are committing genocide against the Philistines, the biblical Casluhim, the grandson of Ham and the son of Mizraim. The Zionists also control the American news media to make sure that only their side of the story is heard, and they terrorize anyone who speaks out against them. In addition, they have stretched the definition of anti-Semitism to include any criticism of Israel and Israeli policy. Booyah! This is the descendants of Shem. That's right. That's right. You see right. These are the real Semitic peoples, Hebrews, Arameans, and Arabs. They originated in regions where darker skin was the norm. Even Abraham, Moses, and the prophets walked among sun-baked lands, not on mules of European cathedrals. Booyah! Yeah, boy. Ham's lineage is deeply tied to the African continent and surrounding regions. Now, Cush, one of the sons, ancestors are Nubians and Ethiopians, or in other words, modern-day Sudan and Ethiopia. Mizraim, forefathers of ancient Egyptians. Put, associated with Libya and parts of North Africa. Canaan settled in the Levant, in other words, modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, later displaced by Shem's descendants. Biblical evidence is in Matthew 15 chapter verses 21 and 28, when Jesus encountered a Canaanite woman from the region of Tyre and Sidon. This shows that the identity persisted culturally and ethnically, even if the original Canaanite kingdoms had faded. Now pull up to the bar and take a drink. I'm fixing to get you drunk in the spirit. The name Jew derives from the name Judah, who was the son of Jacob Israel and the great-grandson of Abraham. And I'm quite sure that Judah had to have known that his grandfather, Isaac, said not to take Canaanites for their wives. Before the time of Jesus, the God of heaven and earth rejected certain cultural groups because they worshiped false gods. But it was not because of their degree of melanin. Okay, let's go to Genesis 28th chapter. And Isaac called Jacob, Israel, and blessed him, and charged him, and said unto him, You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Canaan was the son of Ham. Yet Judah impregnated a Canaanite named Shua, and she gave birth to a son who was named Er. she conceived again and gave birth to a son and named him Onan. She gave birth to still another son and named him Shelah. Yeah, that's right. That Hebrew boy cranked out 3 black boys. Then Tamar, the Canaanite daughter-in-law, tricked Judah, and she became pregnant by him with twins named Perez and Zerah. Now that are 2 more black boys. Perez leads the lineage to Hezron, who begot Ram, who begot Amminadab, who begot Nahshon, who begot Salmon, who married Rahab, the Canaanite harlot, from Jericho. Their son Boaz married Ruth, a Moabite woman descended from Lot, Abraham's nephew, and they begot Obed, who begot Jesse, who begot King David, who begot Solomon by Bathsheba. Now Bathsheba was a daughter of Eliam, son of Ahithophel. He lived in the city of Gilo, a city southwest of Jerusalem in the land of Canaan, but he was an Israelite. Bathsheba's husband Uriah was a Hittite. Now let me stop right there. Some of you folks are not biblically literate, and that's okay. Just keep drinking. Uriah was in the army, and one day King David was watching Bathsheba take a bath. So he purposely started a war in the hope that Uriah would be killed. And he did die. So let's move on. Bathsheba's husband Uriah was a Hittite, descended from Heth, son of Canaan. This lineage from David includes Canaanites, Moabites, Hittites, and Amorites. That leads ultimately to Jesus. Now folks, all them ites, these were not just outsiders. They were nations that Israel was commanded to drive out. Yet God in his sovereignty chose to weave redemption through them. This isn't just a genealogical twist. It's a prophetic rebuke to doctrines of racial purity that we face today as melanated people, and a divine declaration that grace transcends bloodlines. Boom. Shakalaka. Now folks, keep drinking. I'm going to have you jump clean off your feet. We're going to go to Joshua 9th chapter verses 1 through 4. And it came to pass, when all the kings which were on this side Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, and in all the coasts of the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite, heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. Verse 3, and with the inhabitants of Gibeon. Now folks, hold tight on Gibeon. Keep that thought. Keep that thought. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willingly, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, and wine bottles, old and rent, and bound up. Okay, folks, we're going to drop down to the 10th chapter. We're staying in Joshua. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Lord cast down great stones from heaven upon them, unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. Then spoke Joshua to the Lord in a day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. Boom. Shakalaka. Now Samuel the prophet said unto Jesse, here are your children? And he said, there remains yet the youngest, and behold, he keeps the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Now folks, boy, folks been jacking this up for hundreds of years. Ruddy does not mean short. Ruddy does not mean short. Ruddy comes from the Hebrew word admony. Admony, meaning reddish of complexion. Now, folks, maestro, give me a drum roll. Boom, shakalaka. That is the complexion of King David. The name of this meteor is Gibeon, that is composed of an iron-nickel alloy containing significant amounts of cobalt and phosphorus. This material is classified as iron meteorite, belonging to the chemical group IVA. This meteorite's name invokes divine intervention, judgment, and covenant. This isn't just space debris. It's prophetic symbol, iron from heaven, like the word of God, designed outside human time, yet crashing unto earth with purpose. Boom, shakalaka. Now, folks, hold on to this. Now you understand. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and the contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. It's no more argument, folks. It's no more debate. You know who we are. You know exactly who you are. There's no more debates. We're the people. But we got to follow this suit here to go home. Pursue peace with all men. Men also means human being. That includes women. And the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. Okay, let's wind it up. Revelation, 2nd chapter, verse 9. I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Folks, this star is a star Remphan, also known as the seal of Solomon. All of the Arabs and Egyptians throughout history know this as the seal of Solomon. Solomon had this symbol on a ring to conjure up demons. It is not the Star of David. It is a lie. King David did not worship in witchcraft. His son Solomon did. Now, folks, look at the star. It has 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look inside. 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Shakalaka.